Hi, my name is Quenisha Huntley, and my country that I chose to do my report on is called the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic is a beautiful tourism country that people go to see, but is more than just a country, it is a beautiful hidden jewel. In this presentation, I will tell you things about the Dominican Republic that you never knew. I will also give you insight on the causes and issues that the Dominican Republic people are facing in the year of 2018. Why did I choose the Dominican Republic as a country to do my report on? Is because it is a luxurious place to vacate. It is also known for its all great resort destinations. The Dominican Republic has plenty to offer families and couples and older travelers and adventure seekers. No matter what the vacation fantasy is, the Dominican Republic offers beautiful coastal views and wonderful beaches. There's so much to this country. It's more than just coming to see it. It's actually when you get there, the people and the things that they are going through, it's a totally different A-B switch. But it's so important that you learn where you're going and you learn about the country. It's not just the outside, but the inside as well. Now, the stats about the Dominican Republic, as we learned in our economic class, is that its GDP is 6.6% for the 2018 year, 2017-2018 year. It also has an inflation as far as 2017 of 3%. That means that it's not enough goods to match the flow of the money that is coming into the country. There's not enough goods going out that matches the goods that's coming into the country. Also, the unemployment rate has stayed at a 5.5% from 2017 to 2016. When the unemployment rate stays the same, some can say that that's a positive or a negative. But there is no gulp of losing jobs, but there is also no creative ideas for new products and services and investments to decrease the unemployment rate. So the unemployment rate has stayed the same. So there is no new ideas coming in to raise the unemployment rate. To decrease the unemployment rate so new jobs can come in. So some people may say that's a plus. Oh, the unemployment hasn't went up, but it has stayed the same. So it has not went down either. So that's not really this. The people of the Dominican and Haitian descent are just at a bubble. They're staying in a swirl of circle and going round and round. They're standing, not going forward or backwards. So also, the economic changes or challenges in the Dominican Republic face now, according to the World Fact Book of 2018, the country suffers from marked income equality. The poorest half of the population receives less than 1/5 of the GDP, while the richest enjoys nearly 40% of the GPD, according to 2018. So those are the stats. There are some other interesting facts about the Dominican Republic. The top traders of the Dominican Republic are the United States, China, and Mexico. And the top trading industries of the Dominican Republic is the sugar industry, petroleum, gas, gold mining, and it's also been a free trade since 2007. Now, another interesting fact about the Dominican Republic is that the role of the government in the Dominican Republic is to monitor the progress of the country as it would affect the citizens of the Dominican Republic. So that's sort of like our government. They have some of the same duties and responsibilities. Also, their chief of state is also known as the president too. So the president and the chief of state are the same person. Now, let's get into some of the potential hazards of the Dominican Republic. Some of the potential hazards is the burning fossil fuel, the global warming, the burning carbon-based fuels, and the Earth's radiation balance is disturbed. So there's global warming. As it gets higher, it disturbs the radiation of the Earth's balance. It's supposed to be at a certain space, but it's not. If the global warming goes up, then it tilts it up, which gives a very hazardous to the people of the Dominican Republic. And some of the challenges they face is that they have a significant population growth. I mean, since for the last 25 years, as so states, that the Dominican population has been increasing and increasing. And this means there's not enough available land for the Dominican Republic to live in. And it's a demand for food, water, energy, and social services. So some of the main issues affecting the environment right now is healthcare, education, and tourism. Like the money from the tourism doesn't go, it's not enough money from the tourism that goes into the education. And so with the Dominican Republic, how it affects their education is that as high as the population go, some of the younger women don't finish school. And so there's not enough resources to go into the school as well. And so the healthcare is scarce, and because the population has grown, so there's not enough resource to fit it. And so the tourism, even though that's a very, even though that's a very good investment, that's where they get most of their money from, but there's not enough resources to go around to affect all the other departments, areas that need main attention. So the lack of the economic development in the Dominican Republic is the increased population, the improper documentation, like from what I read, the families of migrate plantations, sugar plantations that work, they don't receive aid from social programs because they're down there in the Haitian descendant of the Dominican Republic and they are accounted for. So there's a census problem in the Dominican Republic where some people are not even accounted for if they work on the plantations, and that's not enough money for them and they don't receive aid to help them and their families. Also, the ignored agricultural sector. There's not enough government funding to go into the small farms. And so the small farms, when they don't get enough government funding, money invested into it, they have to go and look for jobs elsewhere. And there's not enough jobs. Also, another thing that hurts the economic development in the Dominican Republic is the natural disasters. And there's no policy intact for natural disaster prevention. And then there's and when there's no money for the prevention, when it happens, it devastates more so the poor people than the rich people. So these are some of the policies that I recommend, that if I was to have a say in the policy making of the Dominican Republic, I will put a policy for disaster prevention. Instead of putting investments into tourism, all the investments to tourism, I will take a percentage for the disaster prevention. Also, increase tax on tourism to put more funding into the disaster prevention. I will also give tourists a choice. Like when you go and you say, oh, I want to visit Dominican Republic, and you go and you sign up or you put your destination place, you will have a choice as to where would you like to pay tax now or would you like to make a donation to the Dominican. Either way, you will have, either you don't make a donation, you have to pay taxes on higher tax on the tourism. Also, I will do a 5% to invest into farms so that the farmers can farm and not go elsewhere for work. Also, I will put a policy in place to take census and separate Dominicans from Haitian descent so they can be eligible for aid assistance. A question was posed, what would I do if I had adequate funding? Adequate funding. Someone said this, Cheryl Lyman. She says, since the government do not provide more than 4% of GPD spending on education, only 30% of children finish primary school. In a system where education is the road to middle class, creating economic barriers to education perpetuates a system of institutional equality. So in the quest for raising adequate capital, I will put more money into the schools in the Dominican Republic, also create jobs for the agriculture sector and the tourism sector. Putting money into the schools will help young women to finish school and as the population keeps increasing. We can't we can't tell them not to have babies or not to increase the population, but we can do things to increase the jobs and increase their living, to help their living environment. So what I'm saying is that help. You have to be an advocate for countries that are less dire situations than your own country. I mean, my grandma used to always say there's somebody off worse than you, which is actually true. But as a Christian, what I've learned is that you have the ability, if you don't do anything but pray, and prayer is very powerful, you have the ability to help others that even if you don't see. Like if I never visit the Dominican Republic, I would keep in mind what Jesus said in Matthew 25 verse 31 through 40. He was saying, truly I say to you, whatever you do for one of the least of these brothers and sisters, you have done for me. So Jesus was all into helping the poor. He was all into helping the ones that are less fortunate. And we studied this in our discussion. The poor is not always a person of economic status, but you have a poor mentality as to where you don't have new creative ideas to get you out of your situation or to help better your living environment. So I would incorporate what Jesus said is that I will help. And how will I help if I never go to a Dominican Republic? If I never go there, I will research organizations who give or advocate for the Dominican Republic, such as the Habitat for Humanity. They always do things of that nature, even here in the United States. I will get involved with organizations that are helping the less fortunate in other countries. Also, I could start my own organization or ask my church what organizations they assist in helping. The main point is to get involved. Think outside the box. Think of others. Get involved. As a Christian, we have a mandate to help others. We are God's creation, and some of us are even God's children if you have accepted Jesus Christ. So the thing is that you have a mandate to help others. Help others as you help when you help others, you're actually helping yourself because God gets involved. So the conclusion I have and the analysis of the Dominican Republic. In my conclusion, the Dominican Republic is a beautiful country with a lot of potential to be prosperous. The government policies that are in place do not address all the ongoing issues that may plague the country or stunt them from success and growing. What I've learned about the country is that it is a jewel and needs tending to correctly. The resources it receives should be assessed properly in the more pressing attention needed areas of development, such as education and assisting in aiding the country and the people. It is in desperate need of more investments. However, the resource received can be divided into promoting the progression and of maintaining and building the middle class citizens. My sincere desire is that the people who have the mindset of Jesus Christ and possess the economic stability, knowledge, and resources to bring this country up to a decent standard of living. And so in my conclusion, in the Dominican Republic, it may be a third world country. It may be less fortunate than the United States. But as Christians, we have a mandate to not only, we don't have to be seen to help, but we do have to do something to help other people, other countries that are in need. And we have to think outside of our four walls and our four walls. Thank you. This concludes my presentation on the Dominican Republic.